As children around the world dream, can you hear the echoes of their aspirations? Access to education has improved globally over the years, as there has been important progress in school enrollment. However, many children are left behind as they don't get the basic literacy and numeracy skills needed.
When I grow up, I would like to be a doctor.
Nataka kuwa polisi, askari.
Kuwa polisi.
Ningependa kuwa dokta.
Nikiwa mkubwa nataka kuwa daktari.
More than 1 million volunteers collect data every year across 15 countries to ensure that children who are not learning don't go unnoticed. This is their story, a story of citizenship engagement to have all children learning. The story of the PAL network.
I think education has the power to transform lives, not just the individual lives, but also the lives of the family and the people around them.
At the end of the day, what is education? Right? We think when we talk about education and in terms of goals and so on, enrollments, attendance, schools, teachers, but at the end of the day, it really is, learning and learning for life.
I think every child has exponential potential to be whoever they want to be and to do whatever they want to do. The heart in unlocking that is in a quality education.
La primera vez que fuimos a hacer los pilotos a México, fuimos a una casa en Jalapa, Veracruz, donde yo vivo, una ciudad de 500.000 habitantes, y había una niña de 12 años que le hice la prueba, asumiendo que es una prueba demasiado fácil para México, y la niña no podía leer, ¿no? Uno se da cuenta que realmente esto es un problema para el niño, para la niña en particular, pero es un problema colectivo para la sociedad.
You would think that a child that goes to school should, at the end of a year, have learned enough to master, whatever is appropriate for that age. The reality in many countries around the world is that that doesn't happen, particularly among vulnerable populations.
Quand je voyais les petits frères, les neveux à la maison, qui ne savaient pas lire, ce qu'eux-mêmes ils écrivaient dans le cahier, c'était terrible. Mais si la situation est arrivée à ce point, ça veut dire qu'il y a quelque chose, quelqu'un a failli à son devoir. Et c'est quelqu'un, c'est qui? Il ne fallait pas chercher à dire que c'est un tel, mais il faut prendre ensemble la responsabilité.
Nous avons vu que des difficultés provenaient de plusieurs raisons. Il y avait des raisons qui sont liées même à l'environnement familial. Il y avait des raisons qui sont liées à l'environnement scolaire, avec le manque d'infrastructures, avec un personnel enseignant peut-être non qualifié, avec le pléthore d'élèves dans les classes, vous voyez, avec même le rythme d'apprentissage. Parce que vous savez que les enfants n'ont pas le même rythme d'apprentissage. Il y a des enfants qui apprennent vite et qui comprennent vite. Il y a d'autres qui apprennent lentement.
What happens in the schools where the children are not learning or are learning? Or what happens in the homes where the children may be learning or not learning? The ground reality in India was that enrollment levels were very high, even in 2005, but learning levels were not up to speed.
And what happened in India was a group of mothers who were helping children to read and do basic maths, and who realized that more and more children were asking for their support to learn to read and do basic maths. And it was not the only children who were out of school, even some children who were in school. So they thought maybe they need to understand how many children are out there who also needed some support. They decided to create a tool to assess, to help them understand how many more children needed support on reading and numeracy.
The question that we asked was that, okay, we've managed to get our children into school, but are they learning in school? And what we wanted to do at that point was to shift the focus in education from enrollments or inputs to outcomes or learning. So we designed this citizen-led assessment, which was for our ground reality. The simplicity of the assessment that we do is also because everybody can engage with it. Now, a lot of children in rural India have both parents who have never been to school. But if the mother, even though she hasn't been to school herself, if you look at the ASER tool, she gets it, right? She can engage with it. So the tool is so simple that a mother who's never been to school can engage with it, and at the other end of the spectrum, the policymaker can engage with it.
I was first introduced to the idea of citizen-led assessments through what ASA in India were doing.
The first one that took place in India, started by Pratham Foundation, was in 2005. I'd heard about it, and then actually in 2006, they asked me to come over. And I was inquisitive, very curious like a child. What is this all about? What is the theory and what is the practice?
And it was a really good example of transatlantic connection and about citizens in the globe finding each other and directing each other to this really good idea that was happening.
And then actually to be in a village and to see how the assessment takes place with the children, one-on-one, with the families inside a village, and got very inspired.
Since 2005, the word about this big national assessment, I think, traveled all over the world. We had Pakistan, who's next to India, visit us. And then we had teams of people coming from East Africa and later West Africa. The Africans visiting India, we have to thank the Hewlett Foundation for making that happen. But we were delighted that something that we had done for our own country should be of interest to so many others. They came, they saw, they took what they felt was relevant for their own countries. And today, the citizen-led assessment under the leadership of the PAL network is in more than 15 countries.
So like with any movement, you know, people gather somewhere and get inspired. The Hewlett Foundation was supporting this movement in different countries. And they said, let's meet in Kenya. And so we met here. And we met here in many ways. It was like an osmosis. We came together, you know, to talk about the issues, our cultures, our challenges, and as civil society, the kind of unique space we were creating as a unique network. So, you know, when we first started designing the assessment, there were decisions to be made. Where should the assessment be done? Most assessments in developed countries tend to be school-based. We designed it to be a household assessment because we wanted to capture all children. One of the decisions there was who will do the assessment. And we decided to go with citizens because how do you build awareness?
Nosotros podríamos contratar a una organización que se dedica a hacer encuestas y nos saldría quizás hasta más barato y más rápido, pero justamente nosotros estamos convencidos y lo hemos aprendido por la experiencia que cuando las personas participan de este tipo de acciones se dan cuenta realmente de la gravedad y de la profundidad que tiene esta crisis de aprendizaje. Yo cuando apliqué este instrumento y cuando vi que una niña de 12 años no podía leer, dije, no, esto no puede ser, ¿no? O sea, sí estamos en un problema.
So it's not just about the measurement, it's about the social mobilization for change.
Okay, my name is Andy Milson Moore, and I'm the champion here. They called me for the training. I was trained, so I was well equipped for the project. So from there, I went to the field, where I started by conducting the assessment.
Para mí, el hecho de ser voluntario es una manera de demostrar que a través de pequeñas acciones podemos mejorar la educación de los niños y también podemos conseguir un progreso de las sociedades.
मैं एक अदारे में एज ए रज़ाकार के तौर पर ये सर्वे हमें वहाँ पे बताया गया कि हमने सर्वे कैसे करना है और हमारे एक बतौर रज़ाकार हमारी ड्यूटियाँ क्या-क्या हैं.
They walk around the village, they make a map of the village to get an idea about how the village is laid out, right? And often, you know, the village headman will go and we encourage them that come with us, right? And see what we are doing.
The village elder was there to support me.
Hay localidades que son muy lejanas, que son de difícil acceso, hay otras que están más fácil.
The idea of going, knocking door by door, starting the dialogue with the parents, explaining to them what we are trying to find out, if our children can read, that is, I think, the most beautiful part of this movement. It creates interaction between youth from that village with parents of that village to identify and to understand the stage of education in the village.
I started with the first one. I introduced myself to Imora. Then I tell them, we are not going to have an exam. We are going to have a fun. Then from there, I take my assessment tool, show the learner, how do you see it? It's nice, it's written very nice. So from there, you start by slowly giving asking the learner the simple questions, following the assessment tool.
Aquí tengo sílabas. Te voy a pedir que elijas dos y que las leas en voz alta.
Okay.
The volunteers are, let's say, the core of this movement.
इसलिए रज़ाकाराना तौर पे ये काम किया है कि ज़रूरत है हमारे बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है इस चीज़ की. वो इसलिए कि हमारे यहाँ तालीमी मयार जो है और तालीम में बहुत ज़्यादा आउट ऑफ स्कूल चिल्ड्रन बहुत ज़्यादा हैं हमारे ना. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो स्कूल से बाहर हैं. वो कभी भी नहीं स्कूल गए या कुछ गए हैं तो फिर उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है. उस मामले में भी
Para mí ser voluntaria de MIA es la oportunidad de poder aportar el grano de arena con la esperanza de asegurar un futuro mejor para los niños y niñas de nuestro país.
So it's not just the PAL Network Secretariat or the country implementing teams, it's millions of citizens all across the world that periodically go trekking over mountains, they go wading through rivers, they go through farms when it's raining, when it's sunny. They're going to households, they're talking with parents, they're assessing children, they're discussing what can be done to make sure that children are in school and they're learning well. So this really is a citizen-powered movement. where I think the genesis of the PAL network is in 2012. At that time, there were, I think, 7 countries all across the global south that were conducting this same model of citizen-led assessments, but adapted to their context. And so we all learnt the methodology and the model from ASA in India. But we were all then going about doing our things individually in these 7 countries. And we first came together as a group in 2015.
By 2015, there were 9 countries who were doing citizen-led assessments or a version of it according to their national context. That created the need to build or create a central coordinating body, which is now called the PAL Network, to coordinate the work of all our members and to say something about foundational literacy and numeracy of children at a global stage.
The contribution of the PAL network is to ensure that we continuously provide this evidence, also ensure that we don't just provide this evidence for the sake of it, ensure that it results into policy changes and practices, but also interventions that are going to ensure that all children in our countries are learning to read, they're acquiring these skills.
Our relation with government started with a lot of confrontation, and as a result of consistently producing the evidence and communicating and engaging government, and as a result also of the do-it-yourself strategy, they started to be more open to access the data and started asking us a very important question. We know that they are not learning, but now what needs to be done to improve the situation? That's how we also changed our approach from assessment to action.
We get to run learning camps for children and help them acquire those foundations and see that change on their faces when the child is able to read, not just the material that they have been teaching or they have been taught, but also anything that they can pick up or be able to do basic arithmetic in their everyday life. So that change is very visible in our work.
We adopted and adapted teaching at the right level in different contexts, and we started implementing different programs with the objective to demonstrate to other stakeholders that it's possible to solve this problem in a short period of time, between 30 to 50 days.
So that's how much it takes for a child to acquire foundation. And we could help to build a society where every child has the foundations to succeed and to build on those foundations for lifelong learning.
Since the project was introduced to us, our learners have created that interest of reading. Their learners, before the project, most of them they could not write even their names. But now they can read. They can write their names. Yeah, and to me, it's an achievement. Yeah.
The world right now desperately needs data on children's foundational literacy and numeracy. In 2019, then, we started creating PAL networks common assessment that were relevant for the local context, but created on a global framework. We started with numeracy, which is called International Common Assessment of Numeracy, ICANN.
4, 5, 6. 6. So instead of 5 is 6. Supposed to write 6. 6.
Having ICANN And then later on, eye care, Elana, all these couldn't have happened if we had not come up with the standards together. And we would not have been able to come up with the standards had we not come up with the values together. So 2015, 2016 was really about agreeing on the values that will bind us together, then coming up with the standards. And after that, the stage was set for us to do common projects, the first in the globe. And we are proud about it.
We will be using our Voice Award winner ICANN tool, which has already been piloted, tried, tested, coupled with International Common Assessment of Reading, or what we are calling it iCare, so that we get a holistic picture of children's foundational literacy and numeracy skills.
And Mr. Armando Ali, CEO of PAL Network for ICANN. ICANN is a simple-to-use, scalable tool that measures children's foundational numeracy while engaging with a broad network of citizen volunteers.
The WISE Award that PAL Network won this year is a very clear demonstration of the power of togetherness.
When countries of the global south get together and use a tool that has been developed and adapted for their own contexts and get a better understanding of where their own children are, I think this movement has the potential to spread to many places and to lead to solutions that are homemade for our own children.
For me, the most rewarding sort of part of PAL Network is the people. You have a group of Global South citizens who are working across the world, who all believe in the same thing, who have all dedicated their lives to achieve those same goals, who are in agreement and in support of each other in building a movement that actually will make a difference in children's lives. And to be part of this group of people who are doing the things that they love, living and breathing this work every single day, is the most inspiring for me.
When we come together and we are determined to solve a problem collectively together, we can come up with innovations that may result, may impact in the life of many other children. Power of togetherness, I think, will inspire us to continue looking for the solutions that are the most appropriate to our contexts, and to build also from the experience that we have gained along the years, the partnership that we have developed, and to strengthen our claim that we should be able to solve the problem of foundational learning during our generation, in the next few years. This is something doable. If we really focus on solutions that work in our contexts, we can solve this problem.
And I think as soon as we as normal people understand what the problem is, we as ordinary citizens will come up with the solutions.
When a child is happy, the family is happy. It has an intergenerational link, and it has a link which is not about just today. Imagine those who started the movement in 2005 in India, people like us who started the movement in 2008 and 9 in Pakistan, or soon after in East Africa. Those kids are now grown up.
Our contribution really is to ensure that we don't give up. Let us provide the evidence. Let us keep the message. Let us keep asking the hard question, are the children learning? But we need a systemic change. We need to change a system that ensures that every child that goes into it acquires these foundational skills, because they're the foundation, as the word is.
To take off his clothes, slipped into the water and floated.
And so the journey continues. There is no time to pause and to think we have arrived. We haven't. We will never arrive till the last child learns.